And sometimes the problem isn't the physical building, but it's a perception of said building, and
Oh,
that is like something that I try to avoid. And unfortunately, I'm in one of those now, and I'm having to pay the price, and it costs you time and it costs you money, and I'm trying for it not to cost me health.
hey, everybody, Chris G here. Yes, it's Thursday and time for another podcast of Hard Hat to CEO, where we talk about people getting out of that hard hat, becoming the owner and CEO of their business. And while we do talk about contractors, we are talking about other business owners because it's the same game, just different players. And today I got a guest all the way from California, and his name's Gil Vaisman. And Gil is going to help us talk about not only ways to build ADUs, and he'll explain that, but also how do you improve your business and that customer experience, increasing those sales, obviously. So please help me welcome Gil. Gil, how you doing today?
Hey, nice to be here, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I'm glad we're here. Can you tell us a little about yourself, Gil, before we get into the nitty gritty of construction?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got into construction as a way about, like, if you search me up online, I'm gonna appear with some TV and film credits. So I used to work as an editor for television
Yeah.
in my previous life, and back then I was a freelancer, meaning I was exchanging my time and expertise for money. And I've always wanted to have my own business. I've always wanted a higher ceiling in terms of wealth generation, and also more control over my time, being able to decide when I take time off, when I go on vacation, like being able to spend time with my family. I have two young kids, and that's how I got into construction as a way of starting a business. I specifically got into ADUs in my market. We built our first ADU back in 2018 for in my backyard. And I had a bunch of friends asking me, like, so what's this situation you have going on here? And I would explain to them that that situation was pretty much handling 100% of my mortgage payments. And I was able to build it for less than 100K. And I was going to make the return of investment in less than 5 years. And so numbers made sense. And I started helping people out as an informal consultant, like, yeah, hire an architect. This is how you want to hire your subs. Do this, that, and then they will basically throw some money my way as a way of appreciation, of gratitude. And it was my wife who said, "That's a business. Like, get a contractor's license and start offering it as a service." And we got specialized in ADUs, so I didn't get into contracting just to do any job. I don't say yes to every job that comes my way. I stay in my lane, stay in my market. And it's been 6 years since we got incorporated. And I consider this journey to have been a successful one so far.
For those who don't know what an ADU is, can you briefly explain it?
Absolutely. It's an accessory dwelling unit. It's a secondary home that works independently from your main house in your same property. So it's also known as a guest house, also known as a granny flat, in-law suite, depending if it's your mom or your partner's mom.
And mainly because of, in big cities and stuff, like, you can't just they just don't pop up lots like we do here out in the rural Missouri, where just land comes available and then you can build on it. It's kind of the limited space area, like St. Louis, Kansas City, obviously California, and bigger cities like that, where you have the spot. You just need to build something that's more efficient, and to use that same spot, either for, like you said, rental. Could it be rentals too?
Absolutely, yeah. I would
Yeah.
say 50%. I would say 50% of our clients use it as rentals. They're generating cash flow. They get some extra. So currently, Like typically, like we have a lot of accumulated equity, especially in a city like California, like where property taxes stay low. Like there's a law that forbids property taxes to go up, so people don't go into the market a lot, and so people tend to stay in their homes a long time, and they've accumulated a lot of equity. But like before this laws came allowing ADUs, the only ways to access that equity was you either sell your home or go into debt. Now this allows you to turn that equity into free cash. You can actually buy groceries, put gas in your tank with this equity once you build an ADU. Before that, it was like you were rich on paper, but like on reality, you wouldn't feel that way.
So no matter where you're located, whether it be California, St. Louis, Kansas City, for me, my local area guys, but you focus on the client first philosophy, which can be anything, right? As far as any business for that matter. But how do you incorporate the client first into your business?
So we analyzed a bunch of pain points that clients typically face when hiring contractors. And we tackled every single pain point by creating a policy that would accommodate or provide a solution for that problem. It means making ourselves a little bit more uncomfortable and as contractors. One example is we don't take 50% up front. So we start with a measly deposit, and we're out there showing our good faith and working out of pocket for the first quarter of the job until we see a paycheck. We only see a paycheck after we've poured a foundation. And so that is a sign of like good faith. That is a sign of like I have my numbers together. I run a clean shop where I know where my money's coming from. And of course, you need a line of credit to get started doing something like that. But I've been able to manage it. And that's one example of customer-centric way of structuring payments. And that avoids that typical charge 50% up front and then delay. I've been paid 90% of the job. The final 10%, it's going to cost me 30%, but I'm only going to get 10%. And I have no incentive to really finish it fast. I'm more incentivized in looking for selling more projects rather than finishing the ones I started. So we build that into our structure. That's just one example. Another example is going to be the way that we attract people to work with us is basically through a loss leader, a Costco hot dog. We start with a $300 design development package, which gives you work with an architect, a site visit, and a schematic design for your ADU for $300.
That's
obviously
cheap.
that is a deal that can't be beat. And we're not making money on that deal, but our percentage of conversions, people that do pay those $300, the people that end up building with us, is tremendously high. So we can afford to have those losses. That 30-20% of the people that don't end up building with us is part of the equation, because like we show people that we are going to take it one step at a time. We are not asking for a big commitment up front. Commitment is a big word. It's a big issue when you're talking projects that on the low end are costing $150,000, on the high end $500,000. It's people's second biggest purchase of their life after their home. So we really take it one step at a time and allow people to start developing that comfort. And people, once it comes time to sign that contract and move forward with the build, they typically don't even shop around. They're like, we're ready to meet you at your price because we trust you. We want to work with you. We like what we see. I'm not ready to go with anybody else. And that is flipping the script a little bit into the how to do business. But like,
so you're closing about 70-80%, you sound like, and you're a design build contractor. I know what that means because I do the same thing. Can you elaborate a little bit on that for some of my contractors who are probably cost plus, or even anybody else that's out there in the business that we want to design something up front and get paid for it? Now, in your case, you're is a cost leader, loss leader, excuse me, but that's okay. You're making it up on the back end. Can you
Yeah.
explain that a little bit to me?
So what we're doing is basically we have 3 stages of invoicing. One is this initial $300 loss leader Costco hot dog. The second one is a design package where you get to sit down with a designer and sketch out exactly what you want, how you want it done. And that allows us to get to the third stage, which is the actual build contract, which is where the real money is. We're breaking even basically at the stage of doing the design contract, like make roughly $1,000, $2,000 per each one, which
Sure.
when you consider the cost per lead, it's a tie. We're breaking even up to that point with the hope that more people want to build with someone that is willing to do this work based on good faith and based on, stats. So it like is it for everybody? I don't think so. You do need more warranties. Like not everybody's going to be a good guy. I turned a lot of contracts down. I decide not to work with a lot of people because I smell something fishy a lot of times, and
Just doesn't feel right, does it? Yeah.
People want to take advantage of, or they're too complicated, and so I've learned the hard way. I've gotten the short end of the stick a few times too.
Well, you're trying to build trust with the client. That's why you're getting a good close rate. And that's kind of what I'm going. You got to build trust. They have to build trust with you. So, are you using the $300? Like, well, they're at least interested. I don't say they got enough skin in the game. Put a little bit in, not as much as they should probably. But you're making that up on the second stage, and it makes more sense to me. So you're getting them in the door with the $300.
Yes.
Then you're using that $300 to decide if you really want to work with them or not. And if you decide yes, then you move into the second stage. All right, let's do a little more involvement, and it's another increase, but it's not as big as the third payment of let's do a contract. And then at the end, that's when you're really doing the real work and getting paid on the back end as far as your real construction side. Is that correct?
Exactly. That's exactly it. It's
well,
just
besides your gut feeling, how do you decide between that second stage? Because they got to build trust with you too, right? I mean,
this is the uncomfortable part. Like it goes both ways. I'll take 1 red flag, maybe 2 red flags, but for sure, if you're waving out 3 red flags, you're out. Like 3 strikes, you're out. And a red flag can be asking too many questions on an email, like demanding stuff that like I consider to be cumbersome. I want you to provide this, and that, and then they're asking for the world, and some stuff I'm okay, but like come over twice, like start calling me when there's a lot of red flags that I would walk away, and there's also it's not polite to say it, but like we're construction, we're in the liability business, we're in the business of minimizing risk. At the end of the day, every project we take, we're taking on risk. At the end of the day, that license that we provide, pulling those permits under our license, what it means is we're ultimately responsible for whatever goes wrong. And we're not thinking that way, but like I certainly think that you got to put a price to everything. That's the other thing. I'm not cheap. I am unapologetically not the cheapest, and that comes with the territory as well. Like if I were to lower my standard in terms of pricing, I couldn't run the business the way I do it.
That's why I like the design build aspect, because now it's like, okay, we're going to put all the effort up front so we can be more efficient on the back end. And we want to make sure that within your budget, and I love those clients that I have turned away that have a champagne taste on the beer budget, and they just don't want to understand. It's like, I'm more than happy to help you. And you're the person giving me the number that you want to spend, and you're basing it on your monthly payment when it's all said and done. And you just I know what you want, but you can't have it. I'm sorry. Or if you want that particular, you got to give somewhere else. And then some clients, it's like they're not willing to or can't perceive that. It's like, no, this isn't, like you say, it's not nice to say, but you're wasting my time. And me wasting my time is kind of wasting your time because you're never going to get what you want. So maybe we just all part ways and go on down the road. And that makes it, at the end of the day, much less stressful later on because you get down in that, in the nitty gritty of, you got a lot more expenses out there. And like you said, even permits, it's your name on the line, and they're not going to be happy with you, the customer that is, and they're going to badmouth you. That's not good to you either. So you might as well find out right up front what's going on, and for a little bit of money investment, there it is. We charge a little bit more for ours, but we're saying here's your plans. These are your plans. You paid for them. Take them somewhere else if you need to. But we're happy to say this probably isn't going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a perfect solution, like either. Like I get why, because like you haven't been in business if you haven't been sued once. Like
Lord,
you haven't been in business long enough.
I've been threatened, but it never happened. So let's hope.
Man, neither have I. But like, man, I've been at that pre-litigious point with some people with like, and they teach you a lesson. They're like, man, I should have seen the signs coming from a mile away. Like I had a gut feeling that this was trouble. I had a gut feeling that like it's not nice to say it to people, but I can fix anything in a building, but I cannot fix anything with someone's head. I cannot fix their perception of reality. And sometimes the problem isn't the physical building, but it's a perception of said building, and that is like something that I try to avoid. And unfortunately, I'm in one of those now, and I'm having to pay the price, and it costs you time and it costs you money, and I'm trying for it not to cost me health. But it's the ugly part of being in this business that like. We'd rather not talk about.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So,
okay.
By going up front and you're planning, you're closing more clients or a higher percentage. And the assumption is that those clients are very happy with you and you built that trust with them. And obviously what I like about the planning was, so you plan it so far in advance and it's never 100%, but you try to get as many questions answered before you start the process. That way, it's way through. And I like telling clients, I'm not going to change your price as long as you don't change your mind. So we're going to work on that right up front, get all those questions in place. You make a decision, and then I love giving allowances. So here's your little gift card to go shopping wherever you want. If it costs more, then you got to make the difference up. If it costs less, you can save that money, put it towards something else, or you don't, get cash back. Whatever it is, that's how I like doing that process. But, things do happen. We're in construction. Things are going to happen. So how do you deal with things that pop up that you might have forgot about? I know I can tell you how I do it, but I want to hear your version too. How little things that pop up, and how do you carry on the conversation? How do you approach the client with that?
You approach it by like, this is a typical negotiation tactic. You say like, I'm a bad guy. You might hate me for this. I like you might want to sit down. Like you preempted with like, this is pretty bad. And then he said, but I have some good news too. So let me start with the bad ones.
Yeah.
And then you lay it out. You said like, this is the problem. You say it straight up. You take accountability. You said like, could I have seen this from before? Yes. Was it an oversight? It was. However, this is the solution. The good news is that it does have a solution, and we're going to find it this way or that way, or it's just going to be a little delay, or like, thankfully it doesn't, like most of the cases with me, it doesn't end up costing money because I am in the business of new construction. Mm-hmm. So I rarely encounter stuff that is unforeseen that is going to generate a huge change order.
Yeah, remodels are hard to deal with, I think.
Remodels are a different beast, and that's
absolutely.
Why I don't get into remodels, because of the respect I have for, like, once you there's a world of trouble behind that wall that I don't get to see. The only problem that I might have in my line of business is when we do garage conversions where the footings are not there. So I never assume we have footings. I always assume I'm going to have to underpin it, and I bake that into the cost. And if I don't have to underpin it, then I save
More
some
power to
money.
you. Yeah.
But like if I have to underpin it, it's like, oh my God, this has no footings. Like, don't worry,
Got it covered. Yeah.
Look at the scope of work. I had accounted for that. So like this are old garages, which I don't assume have footings. So we need to build a new one. It's all good. Like no, and that's another big part of what I advertise and part of the talk I have. It's exactly what you said. Like you change your mind, it's going to cost you money. If you don't change your mind, I don't have any more surprises. Like we can get this to the finish line because everything is accounted for.
And you learn from your previous mistakes and you make sure it's made up on the next one, on your next contract. You plan for it. And I don't like nickel and diamond clients. So
no, nobody's happy. Nobody's happy.
Nobody's happy there. I want to make a change. Well, what's your change? And I'll tell them, hey, you know what? You told me far enough in advance, and I know it's not going to cost anything. It's a communication issue, and we need to make sure we communicate with our people. But, I'm not going to charge you anything extra for that. Don't worry about it. Or if it does, like, okay, it's going to be, that's a little more, you have changed your mind. I'm not talking about, like, I want to add a third wing. Well, that's a whole different subject, and I want this window here instead of that window there. We can work on that. Don't worry about that. So I like to plan that in ahead of time. Don't nickel and dime them. And then you seem like the hero then. And
but you also need to bake in enough margins where you're comfortable.
Absolutely.
Where you're comfortable, where you feel like you want this door swinging in instead of swinging out.
No big deal.
No sweat. Like you got it, baby.
We can make that
and then the client all of a sudden it feels at ease, feels more relaxed. As long as again, like we're not dealing with someone who's changing their mind every third second. Because another thing that I learned was someone that does change their mind, you have to set a precedent of hitting them with change orders as soon as, like, even if it's for $200. Like you have to establish that that's the rules of the game, and they respect it and they know it is like, hey man, could we upgrade this water heater? It's like, absolutely yes. This is how much it's going to cost you. Do you want to do it? Yes or no? You sign the change order, we'll do it, and everybody's happy.
Sign the change order. And there's two different clients. We get clients that get the loans from the banks, and we get the clients that are paying out of pocket. And no matter what, you still want them to sign the change order. If it's a significant change order, I make sure the banks even know. It's like, because they're the ones going to pay the bill. And my dad used to be a banker, and he used to hate the part where, he approves a loan, and then all of a sudden the contractor comes back and says, oh, it's $20,000 more than what you originally said. Well, not even what. So before we do that $20,000 change order, hey, Mr. Banker, you know that this is going to make a change. It's your house until they pay for it. You okay with this too? Because I'm going to come to you for the money. And we try to communicate. And I got bankers that love me and come to me and even recommend me. So now in California, I'm sure there's some clients that, like you said, they're taking the money out of their equity. Yeah. And you got to play that game too.
Most of them are. Most of them are taking out of their equity. I also give them a heads up, is like, by the way, we have an inspection coming on Friday. It's Monday. You might want to start writing that check from your HELOC into your bank account so that we have time for that invoice. If the inspection goes well, I'm going to hit you with an invoice. And like, I'm taking care of my obligations. I expect you to take care of yours, which is on-time payments. Please, sir, like, preempt it as much as possible to avoid having those collection calls. Like,
absolutely.
But no, you gotta eat.
Everybody's gotta eat. You got that right. I've said that many times. So I was going through my notes here, and I had a question I got marked here. I wanted to ask you, what do you consider? What is smart construction? Besides the AI, or is that just a philosophy?
It's a philosophy that, like, it involves more the design that the build itself. So it's thinking ahead when you're designing. It's not
Okay.
just like looking at a box and saying like this makes sense here, but it's like, where is this box located in the lot? Like what's on this side of this wall? What's on this side of that wall?
Is it kind of like seeing the bigger picture? Because when I run the other companies before, I look like at internal customers, meaning now with new construction, I love it. You know, your framers have to leave it a certain way because you got HVAC guys coming behind you, got drywallers coming in. So you make sure everybody's on the same page and taking care of everybody else along the way.
No, that of course, like we bring the HVAC guys before we start framing to ask them what the requirements are. We know that the plumber and the electrician need to, you know, just have a sit down the first day before they start like laying pipes or throwing cable out there. Is like, hey, what's your plan? How are you planning to go about this?
Is this going to be in the way of you? I've had that, some things be in the way. It's like, no, you can't do that. It's got to be, you got to move that because they need it for this other purpose. Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. Now the best part of, we're a smaller contractor and we use the same subs all the time. We know what everybody expects. And then as we expand and increase our subs, they got to follow through, you know, they got to show that they've done it work for other people and have a good reputation. So
it's very hard to find good subs. It's very difficult. Like for every sub that we have today working, I do not exaggerate, but we've gone through 3 to 5 subs that haven't worked out. And they come with impeccable references. They show us their job. You think they're great. Then they start working and you're like, no, this isn't going to work out. And we have a high standard of what we look for.
But the subs that you do work for you that you like, you take good care of them.
I never haggle with price.
No, it is what it is. We take care of you.
It is what it is. We take care of them. We accommodate. They make our life easy. They're what makes us happy.
Heck, yes. You don't have to show up. They show up, and you know that's going to be done right as long as they got the plans.
Absolutely.
Before we tie this up, I want to ask a few more. I want to ask, I guess, one more question. Basically, first, I want to talk about AI a little bit. Are you using AI in your business? Your contract?
I'm trying to. I could use it more. So my project manager, he's this younger guy, and we're trying an open claw to, like, he's hell bent on doing takeoffs with AI.
Okay.
And we still haven't found the solution. Like, I'll let you know once that's there. But like, we're breaking it down into smaller pieces of, like, there's an AI that will throw some numbers and create a sheet. And then with that sheet, we throw it to another tool that's going to break it down into materials. And then from that, like, then there's a part of that process that's still manual, but like, we're trying to create an agent that moves through the stages to be able to create a fully automated takeoff.
Gotcha.
So you feed it like the plans, you feed it a floor plan, and it's going to tell you, this is how much it's going to cost in rough materials. This is how much it's going to cost in labor. And this is how much the 3 tiers of allowances, right? Low, mid, and high. And have, like, which we kind of have it. It's just, that's kind of like the easy part. People think the finishes are, because that's what's more client facing. So people spend more, like, tend to focus more on the finishes, but the finishes are actually pretty easy to do. It's the rough materials and the labor where you really make or break a project.
That's your big chunk. Yeah.
That's 85% of the budget.
We use it for creating a budget because people come in, you know, I used to go through and they give me some specs and I go out and get quotes and they come back and say, oh, that's more than I want to spend. It's like, oh my gosh, because now I'm wasting my time, one thing, and then I'm wasting my subs time doing estimates. And I go back and say, well, can you change this or can you change that? It's just frustrating. So we use AI up front they say, okay, well, based on what you told me, here's what we believe it's going to cost. Now we'll get you a hard number. Is this within your budget? Yes or no? And they say, well, no, then okay, we can change a few things. We might change the scope of work, we might change the number of square footage. And then we get that budget number that they're happy with. It's like, okay, we're ready now to take this and go get you some hard figures. And that seems to be working pretty well.
What AI are you using?
We're using Construct IQ.
Okay.
They're all
Okay.
very similar, and they got 3 levels, like you said, 3 levels of allowances and so forth. And how picky are you as far as, or how, I guess my daughters would say, how bougie are you? And it doesn't matter to me. I'll do it any way you want. It's your
No,
house. Yeah.
it's the same
And-
love.
Yeah. Same love. It's like, we'll take care of you. It's all the same. What it looks like is at the end of the day, and what your monthly payment wants to be, is that's what we're trying to achieve for. And I love the ones that, we're paying out of pocket, and I will still take care of you, but obviously it's your money at the end of the day. We want to make sure we use it wisely. Last question before we wrap this all up, because you obviously have a high quality standard. We established that, but how do you keep the high quality standard and play the speed and efficiency game too?
It's a really good question. And it's one that I'm currently trying to find the answer by. Process of growth is slow in itself.
Yeah.
So getting from 5 to 10 is not as easy as just like hiring another project manager and hiring double the crew. It doesn't work like that. You gotta go from 5 to 6 and make sure that 6 is being handled properly. And then you say, okay, we like you Mr. 6, can you handle 7, 8, and 9? But we know that 6 is so that process is very incremental, because it's a lot of trial and error. Like, I don't have the magic bullet, because we're still dealing with humans, and we're still dealing with people with personality traits and tendencies and bad habits and good habits.
Yeah.
And so the way that I've been trying to do it is trying to find more subs under like an umbrella, where finding that sub is difficult though. And getting to that point of like 5 to 10, like right now I'm researching 6 and 7 because like I've sold enough to get to 10, but I'm still trying people out. And
well, the good subs, the best subs are busy. I mean, that's why they're so good.
Yeah.
And if they're not busy, then you got to be, why aren't you busy? Because
and so it's a lot of relationships, it's a lot of networking, it's asking the right questions, it's also people are jealous of their subs. Like contractors never give away. That's like, I'm not gonna give you my guy, my framer. Like, then I'm gonna be left without a job. You're gonna take and pay more, and then I'm left without a framer. I'm not gonna, like, it's a reality in the business. People are very protective of their subs. So it's a challenge that like I have a backlog. It's the reality of it. I'm not taking on more jobs in order to keep them delayed. Like I stagger them at the end of the process. So I'll be honest and I'll say, it's going to take me 2 months to start your job. I'm sorry. Like, if you lose patience and want to go with someone else, I understand. Like, I cannot ask you to stick with me, but like in 2 months, I'll be able to start. Or I'd rather do that than start it and then take 3 months longer than I need, because like, and have nobody show up at their job site. I know what my capacity is. I wish, like, the question you ask is a great question that I'm asking myself, and I'll listen to your podcast to see how other people are answering that question, because it's one of the hardest questions to answer in this
absolutely.
business.
We're trying to do some things, same type of things. Like, so we are not only the customer experience, getting them, communicating with them. I think communication is the biggest way of maybe improving or increasing what you already have as far as subs and staff. So you increase the communication or improve it, and So the clients kind of know what's going on. They know in your 2 months, it's like you haven't forgot about them. It's like, we're still planning on this date. Everything's fine. We're still in control. The planning up front and try and work out all those things you can ever think of before, so that when your subs do come in, they don't have the conflicts, and then get it done faster. So not only you making it better for you, but you're making it better for your subs, that they're actually going to make more money because they're faster and all the things that you and I manage.
They can clock in more jobs. They can clock in more jobs. That's what they want. Yeah,
absolutely. And they don't want to have to hire somebody else because it's hard to hire good people. Who can I do and what can I do with the guys I have? And so that's all that communication, that customer experience, I think, and then just the planning up front. Try to plan as best as you can and get rid of all those little hiccups that we know come about. So,
absolutely.
Well, Gil, it's been a pleasure, and I hope our listeners just got as much out of it as I did. We appreciate your time. What's the best way to get a hold of if you have any questions about ADUs or anything like that?
Yeah, it's super easy. You can search my name, Gil Vaisman. My companies pop up. I own 2 companies, Vaisman Construction. It's the parent company of GoADU. GoADU is our ADU specialist, which is where most of our revenue comes from. If you're in the LA area, hit us up for a job. And if you're not in LA, I always like to talk shop. I always encourage. I'm a believer that, like, if you can build an ADU, you should build an ADU. So it doesn't matter where you're at. So the more ADUs that get built, the better it is for the overall picture.
Awesome. As always, we'll put that information in the bottom of the show notes here for links to Gil. This is Chris G, Hard-Headed CEO. Hit that like and subscribe buttons. We like all that good stuff. It's good for me, good for you. This is Chris G again, Hard-Headed CEO. God be with you till we meet again. Bye-bye.